What's up guys, welcome to my channel, and as you can see from the title, we're going to be talking about bulking macros today. If you haven't already, be sure to check out my video I did last year on macros for cutting. I'll leave that here, one of the two. Anyway, so I want this to be a guide for anyone who is new to calorie counting or tracking macros and wants to start logging their food intake. And remember, like the last video, this is just a guide, but it does take into account things like step count, activity, etc. But before we start with the actual guide, remember this, I'll put this right up here, have a little read of that and we'll come back to that shortly. Okay, so just like the last guide, the first step we need to do is work out roughly what your maintenance calories are. Okay, so we'll be multiplying your body weight by a number. That's how we're going to get to that figure here. So as a rough guide, for a male you want to be multiplying your body weight in pounds by either 15 or 16 and 13 to 14 if you're a female. But the problem with that calculation is it doesn't really take into account step count, activity, etc. So if you're someone who is very active, then multiplying that start figure by either 16 or 17 may serve as a better starting point. Or if you're someone who's quite sedentary and does maybe less than 4,000 steps a day with little to no cardio, then you might want to multiply it by 13 or 14. I'll leave this screen here for you just for that very first step. Okay, so we'll use a male as an example. Let's say he weighs 180 pounds and he averages under 10,000 steps a day, so kind of moderately active. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply that 180 by 15. So 180 by 15 gives us a maintenance figure, or a predicted maintenance figure of 2,700 calories. Now what I would recommend is maybe spending a week, even 2 weeks, at those calories to see if that's a fair guess. So the next step is to add some calories. Because we're bulking, we want to be obviously in a surplus, so we're going to start by adding 15 to 20% on top of that number. Okay, so I'd always advise starting on the lower end, so maybe start with 15% on top of that 2,700 calories. If you find it sticks, then maybe in 5% increments start to move up with that number. So 15% on top of 2,700 calories gives us a figure of 3,105 calories. So next step, we're going to allocate those calories to proteins, carbs and fats. Now I always allocate calories to proteins first, makes things a little easier I find. And as a general rule, you may know this, 1 gram per pound of body weight is a good starting point for protein. It's not always the case. If you're dieting, you might want to go a little higher, but we'll come back to that later. Or if someone is completely new to tracking calories or new to a high protein diet, then maybe start off with 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. But for now, we're just going to stick with 1 gram per pound. So for a 180 pound male, that's 180 grams of protein per day. So next, we're going to be calculating fat intake. Okay, so I tend to prefer higher carb diets personally, but as long as you're within a certain range of the fats, you should be fine here. I find a good range for calculating fat intake is around 0.35 to 0.5 grams per pound of body weight. So we're going to go with, for this, we're going to go with 0.45 grams of fat per pound of body weight. So 0.45 times 180 is 81 grams, so that will mean 81 grams of fat. So far then we have 180 grams of protein and 81 grams of fat. So obviously the next step is to allocate some carbs. So we're going to bring back this on the left, as now it will come in quite handy. So our protein intake is 180, so we're going to times that by 4, and that gives us a figure of 720 calories. So those 720 calories are going to come from protein. Our fats are 81, so we're going to times that by 9, because fats are 9 calories per gram, and that gives us 729 calories. Still with me? Right, the next step is we're going to add those two figures together, and that will give us a total of 1,446 calories. Okay, so the next, if you remember before, our starting figure of bulking calories were 3,105. So we're going to take the 1,446 off the 3,105, and that will give us our remaining figure, which will be allocated to carbohydrates. And that figure is 1,659. Okay, so with carbs also being 4 calories per gram, we're going to divide that figure by 4, and that'll give us 415 grams of carbohydrates. And that'll give us our total. So we've got 180 grams of protein, 415 carbs, and 81 fat. And there you have it guys, a rough guide to how to calculate macros for bulking, for a lean bulk. In the next part of this series, what we'll be doing is talking about when and how to increase your calories and macros if you find the weight gain is stalling, your weight's plateauing. Hope you found this helpful, guys, and be sure to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to drop any comments in the box below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.